Midweek Report. I'm Jeff Daugherty here with R. Wayne Steiger. This is our regular weekly show. I know that the thing said 8. I hit the wrong button, but everybody knows this show starts at 9. And here we are, 9 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, correct?
Well, that's what I think, but it's 8 o'clock somewhere.
It's 8 o'clock somewhere, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
I hear a song in my head.
Yeah, almost that song, right?
Almost.
So I've just been busy trying to get ready for the big event this weekend. What have you been up to?
I have really been busy, ever since the story broke yesterday and when it was just rumored and about, Trump finally doing what was passed nearly 25 years ago.
1995, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's just the first president that said, well, enough of this. So,
because every single president has put in an exemption.
Yeah. Passed it on to the next guy going, I ain't touching it.
Sounds like a lack of testicular fortitude to me.
Or Mercury in retrograde. I don't know which.
But I mean, all these other presidents didn't have the stones to do what the Congress passed it with a 95% approval. Hello, Heidi Vandenberg.
Hi, Heidi. Yeah, I mean, it's like, all the Democrats, it was this time when we had Newt Gingrich. It was the Clinton era. Thing was riding high. Clinton was heralded as, probably going to do the first peacemaker, right? And then when he got the bill passed, he said, no, I'm going to do an exemption. And said, I'll pass it on to the next guy. And so, but I tell you, Jeff.
Later rather than sooner.
There you go.
Later rather than sooner.
It seems like we have a president that if you think that he's going to follow a certain ideology, that ain't true.
It's not.
No, he's a man.
I'm trying to figure him out on this one, though. I don't get this one. He has to have a underlying agenda because on the surface, it's not a great idea. It's a loser. And Trump is not by any means an evangelical. He's not by any means a true believer.
I can't imagine he is.
No.
I really can't.
He, like every other Republican presidential candidate, gets born again every 4 years. When I was an evangelist, people would get born again every time I came back for revival, except for the Republican presidential candidates. They only get born again every 4 years when it's time to run for election.
You know how it is. It's just really odd. I tell you, I puzzled on this yesterday when I got the word, and it was like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, Jeff. It's just, I don't know.
Well, it makes sense Trump is kind of besieged right now. His approval rating is up to the low 40s. And Heidi just made a good comment that it feels like Pence is doing this. But one thing this does do is this does solidify the evangelical base, the religious right base, because they love it. So it gives him a dependable base. And also you have to remember that for all practical purposes, the U.S. Congress is Israeli occupied territory. So by doing something that
they're going to get you for saying that.
It's the truth. The U.S. Congress is Israeli occupied territory. And by doing that, he's put himself on the side of the most powerful lobby in Washington, and he's put himself on the side of the biggest donors in Washington. So he has now got at least those people and that money on his side, and he has strengthened his evangelical base. But I'm convinced that that's not really what he's doing. Those are part of it, but I don't think that's really what he's doing.
Well, I'll tell you, he's either going to be heralded as the most brilliant strategist of the 21st century or the most reckless individual that brought down the whole structure. I don't know.
Well, maybe you can be both, the most reckless guy and the brilliant strategist, because you have to remember with Trump, everything about Trump is about the deal. He's about trying to make the deal. He's trying to do what nobody else thinks can be done. And part of me says, Is Donald Trump, the guy that I talked to for 15, 20 minutes, is he thinking, look, no one else has done this. Let me try something that hasn't been tried. Let me do something that hasn't been done. And also, is he thinking, let me put this out there, so now he's got a big bargaining chip. When they go to the negotiating table, he can say, oh, you know what? I'll take back that proclamation. Because if you noticed, it said it'll take up to 4 years to actually move the embassy. So maybe Trump has created himself a bargaining chip. And if there's any bargaining chip better than Jerusalem or bigger than Jerusalem, I don't know what it is. So maybe he's created himself a solidification of his base. He's aligned himself with, the Israeli occupied territory that is the U.S. Congress and the biggest and most powerful money lobby out there. So, and maybe he's creating himself some room to negotiate in the future.
Well, I watched Ambassador Nikki Haley an interview right before we came on live. Here's the thing that's really odd about this. We have a consulate already there in Jerusalem. It's big. And literally all they would have had to have done today is change the sign.
Mm-hmm. And you have to ask, why didn't they?
That's the question. Why 4 years? I mean,
I think he's creating a bargaining chip.
Well, wow. Talk about playing some high stakes.
Well, if you're Donald Trump, if it ain't high stakes, you don't want to be there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's the art of the deal, like you said. And,
it is.
and
it does have the virtue of never having been tried.
Oh, no. I mean, talk about brass cojones. I mean, come on. I mean, this is the big boy pants. Because I can't figure it out. I mean, I think geopolitically, we have just, as one person commentary said, this is like coming in with napalm on a tinderbox already.
Yeah.
And
Jen made a good point. You got to bet big to win big.
Well, that is true.
He has upped the ante as high as it can be. But the problem is, and the frightening thing is, that it could motivate one of these idiotic, eschatology influenced, right-wing crazed evangelicals to try to blow up a bomb at the Dome of the Rock and marshal in quote unquote prophecy. That's the worry in my mind.
I'll show you something.
Because I'll state this for the record. This has absolutely, positively not one iota smidgen to do with any true biblical prophecy. Now, it's all about Jesuit prophecy, but it has nothing to do with biblical prophecy. And I'll stake my 20 years and 100,000 hours of study on that.
Well, here's what I told everyone my take on this. Listen, you're dealing with a race of people that, quite frankly, I believe they do have a covenant. Whether it's Inyel, Inki, I don't know. Listen.
They've sold their soul.
So do I find this surprising? No, I really don't. But the way this is going to be interpreted is that it's going to be interpreted on two extremes. Either this is going to be affirmation and confirmation of a belief system, or it's going to be the antithesis of the opposite. And that, holy crap, I mean, that's walking a razor line to get to the other side.
Now, one thing that I noticed, and I'll admit I've employed this before in my preacher days, and I'm not above employing it in my current activities as well. Sometimes it's better to get people agitated than have them indifferent. And if you're talking about, the peace process, everybody kind of rolls their eyes at it because it's been tried so often. It's the same old thing, different day. Trump has definitely stirred up the hornet's nest. He's definitely got everybody's attention. He's definitely doing something that's never been tried before. And I hope that he's got a plan, because if he doesn't, this is not a smart move by President Trump. It's a lose-lose situation unless he has something planned.
Yeah, and I mean, while you were talking, the thought occurred to me, this man is breaking every paradigm. every paradigm. Look at what we're doing with North Korea. His thing is that, listen, we've been dealing with this since basically the 50s.
Somebody puts a comment in, we'll see who God loves, Jeff. What kind of a God doesn't love everyone equally? Maybe your God, not my God.
Yeah, that's just, when you take that kind of position, I said today, the problem I have with this whole problem, this is just me, is that human blood is going to be spilt. And Jeff, I'm tired of my species, our species, spilling our blood for some religious ideology that is nothing more than a concept.
Now, one thing that's been said a couple times in the chat room by people that have been observing the situation is, yeah, they've burned some effigies, they've lit some flags on fire, but on what you would think would be as big a night of violence, or the tensions will be at their highest, there's been no rioting, there's been no Molotov cocktails, there hasn't even been a rock thrown through a window yet from all indications. It's interesting. It's like a tempest in a teacup.
Yeah, and again,
or a little espresso cup.
Think about this. This is the ultimate mind coitus going on. You make an announcement, but you really don't do anything for 4 years that you could do it right now.
He's got a plan. He has to have a plan.
I mean,
and he was very uncomfortable. Did you notice how dry his mouth was? I'm like, yeah. President Trump, take a damn drink of water, bro.
Yeah, he had that cotton mouth thing going in.
Oh, big time. I've never seen it like that before.
Yeah. And that's, let me tell you, we all know this. If you
Pence was behind him. Maybe Pence had a Glock pointed at his back. I don't know. Because Pence is a true believer. Pence is a zealot. He's a right-wing religious zealot. He's dangerous, and not in a good way.
Let me tell you, I am on the record on Rex Bear, the Leak Project's show.
Who will be there on Sunday.
Exactly. As he said, either be there or be square.
Exactly.
So we talked about this when him and I back in August.
Heidi says he's not that bad. He seems bad to me.
Listen, Pence. There are things going on that, there is a theory that says this man is going to come in and break every paradigm, every preconceived status quo of the way it's supposed to be. Because
Trump is.
Yeah, because nothing has changed. The man is right in one way. From a philosophical point of view, he's absolutely right. Nothing has changed in decades.
That's right.
I mean, he said,
I'm a believer of, people say if it's not broke, if it's not broken, don't break it.
Yeah.
I'm in the idea of if it's been the same way for a long time and it's not broke, you need to break it and try to find some way better to do it.
I say with the North Korea thing, I had it in my notes here just to let you know. Ambassador Haley said this. I didn't know this, but China has now deployed the largest assembly of their Navy and other assets in both the Red Sea and the Yellow Sea.
Nikki Haley said that?
Yes. Yeah. It was on the Martha McCowan show on Fox News. She also said that they anticipate that the large drills are basically a statement. Now, Martha McCowan said this, not the ambassador, but the ambassador agreed with her that this is China's way of saying, don't push Kim, because what you're doing, you're pushing him. Now, while this interview was going on, it was being released through the AP that we were flying B-1 bombers.
I saw that.
Yeah, all along the North Korean coast.
I still get the idea that they're in cahoots with the Chinese and the Russians. I think they know exactly what they're doing. Heidi's not talking about Pence.
Oh, yeah. No. So we're in a situation that it is dicey, Jeff. I mean, holy crap. I grew up in the missile Cuban crisis. I remember the exercises of duck under the desk, cover your head, don't look up. Um, you know, that was the environment that I had in the first grade. This is far more precarious than that.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
isn't it funny? Didn't Nikki Haley trash Trump in the primary and endorse little Marco?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And now she's the ambassador to the UN. Well, that shows you that Trump doesn't necessarily hold a grudge if he thinks somebody could do a good job.
Well, apparently the vote, according to sources, when Trump was making this decision in his inner council, which is 5, the vote was 3-2.
Oh, wow.
And Tillerson was against, as was Mathis. So
Big Dog, Bulldog, whatever his name is, Mathis, was against doing this?
Yeah. And so was Tillerson.
Interesting.
Now, Tillerson will be stepping down right after the first of the year.
Did he make that announcement?
No, but he's going to step down. You know?
Yep. And don't worry, everyone. Jenny Moonstone says she's about got her presentation ready for Sunday.
Excellent. So, listen, this guy is running the government like a business, like a corporation. And he has made big time bets before. He's also, as we all know, is lost on some of those big time bets.
Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, not very often, but he has lost.
Yeah, well, and he'll admit to it. In order to achieve great successes, failures is what actually gets you there. And he's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's any of us who have gone through the corporate ladder, climbing that ungrateful beast, we know what that feeling is like. And yeah, so, and look what's happening. Of course, we know that Franken is going to be stepping down tomorrow.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, he's out.
Well, good. I mean, he should be out. If one person's got to go, then everybody should go.
Well, and then that brings up the whole point that they're setting up for the 2018 election. This is how the story is going to read. They're going to read the story as this: we, the Democrats, cleaned up our house. We cut the cords with the Clintons. We went in. We cleaned house with both the Senate and the Congress. What's up with the Republicans?
Have they cut the cords with the Clintons?
I think that with the revelation now today, yesterday actually, with the assistant director that was on the Mueller team, with his interference now with the Hillary Clinton emails. And I listened to Trey Gowdy as well this evening. And Trey Gowdy's now saying, listen, we've got to look into this. We've got to see what is truly going on here. If we have federal law enforcement, that's Department of Justice. If you're in the Department of Justice, you are a federal law enforcement officer. And if they are altering words, documents in order to create a distraction, then that's collusion. I mean, that gets into what that means, Jeff. That means we have a divided government. We have two governments at work here. And that's a frightening situation to think. As Rand Paul would say, we are bordering on a potential constitutional crisis.
Which might not be a bad thing. And why would you call me Jeff Netanyahu?
Say what?
Somebody just said I'm Jeff Netanyahu, and I just said that the U.S. Congress was Israeli occupied territory. I'm definitely not an Israel apologist. I think that they deserve to be treated with the same respect any other nation, and they have the same responsibilities to act like any other nation.
Well, most people have never read the Belmar Treaty that was introduced in 1917 by the Rothschilds. How this area was in the idea, it was never really supposed to be implemented. It was an idea to have a place where the Jews could go to. It was a problem back in the 1900s.
What was wrong with New York
Well, I don't know.
or Boca?
So this has led to this whole thing. Listen, the Palestinians.
Oh, Heidi was doing Netanyahu's chart.
Oh. Um, this is what's caused the conflict. You know, I don't think what most people don't realize is the history with Jerusalem. You know, after the Romans laid waste to it, they didn't leave a stone left. It was gone, folks. You could have walked across it and wouldn't known that it was Jerusalem. And it lay.
Do you think that's hyperbole, or do you think that's absolutely true?
Listen, if there's one thing I do believe as far as history and the record is concerned, is Flavius Titus, what he did. And listen, I could get real into this from a historical purpose, but to answer your question, yes, I do. I believe.
Yeah, I believe they did too. But Scotty Roberts was of the opinion that they didn't really tear down every single brick, that it was hyperbole. But the fact of the matter is that they actually put pure gold into the mortar between those bricks, and the Roman soldiers were tearing it down, not just to tear it down because they were told to, but to extract the gold out of the mortar as well.
Well, and plus that, the Romans went in there with traitors, with inside information. Flavius Josephus was the biggest traitor of all. And he got the high priest to go over on the Roman side. So when they went in, after they set the wall on fire, and, you know, people don't read the record. I mean, it was a massacre.
Titus's right-hand man was Jewish, and he was the man whose dad had built the temple doors.
I keep telling people, if you read Revelation, that is what it's talking about. I mean, the temple was desecrated by this treachery, and that's what history was. Now, they had to walk over the heaps of a lot of dead Jews. It's over 1 million of them. I mean, it was not a pretty picture, and this was something on a grand scale that escapes most modern Westerners. And that's what they did. There was some kind of vendetta that was being settled here. And as it is written, the reason...
Tiberius Julius Alexander was his second in command, and a Jewish person whose father had given the money to build the great temple doors and knew their weak points, and they leveraged that information to finally take over.
Exactly. And Titus marched into Rome with the sacred implements of worship. And, you know, there was something that was more going on here. As I was always said, as I heard from a Jewish rabbi, he said, Christianity is an insult to remind us Jews what we lost over 2,000 years ago. And that's, you know, if you have an enemy that was like the Jews were back then, if you read Josephus's works, read the War of the Jews and the Antiquity of the Jews. These were brutal people. You know, when I read of some of these skirmishes, that 12, 15,000, 30,000 men die in one battle, Jeff, holy crap.
That's a lot.
The Romans were fed up of the constant, it would be like our Vietnam.
Yeah, they were sick and tired of the Jews. They were way more trouble than they were worth.
Yeah. I mean, the body count going back to Rome was getting to be a problem. And so what most people don't know is that Vespasian, when he came into Judea, he came in with 170,000 foot soldier army. They were going to get rid of this problem one way or the other.
And most people believe that the guy who was behind the whole idea of let's just get rid of him, why are we messing with him, was Nero.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was, look at this from a political point of view, not a religious one.
And Paul was right in the middle of all of it, Wayne.
Oh, yeah. I think Paul was an inside
Oh,
cat.
he definitely was. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Listen, think about this, folks, from a taxpayer's point of view. This was getting expensive because the taxes were having to be increased on the citizenry of Rome.
Yeah, the cost in both blood and treasure had grown way too high.
Yeah. And so this was a calculated move. Listen, Alexander the Great started the complete downfall of the ancient Hebraic faith. When he marched in 333 BC, he literally Hellenized the Hebraic faith.
And it was, what's funny about it is basically what he did was he was going to destroy it. And this is in my first book, Apostle Paul Antichrist, which is right over there. But he was going to destroy it. And the priest Judua, I believe his name was Judua, and his priest marched out and met Alexander, told Alexander that Cyrus had talked about him in the book of Daniel. And Alexander was so moved that not only did he not destroy Jerusalem, but he exempted them from paying taxes and sent tribute to Jerusalem every year before he was killed. So they started loving the Greeks, and that began the Hellenization of Judaism, so much so that by the time Paul and the Christ came, that really that a Hellenistic king, Herod, the Tetrarch, he wasn't really a king, he was a Tetrarch, was on the throne. He was fully Hellenized, and they were called the Herodians, and Paul was in that family.
And then, the whole Maccabee Wars. I mean, there was that fact.
The Maccabees were the true believers.
Yeah. And
the ethnic Jews, if you would say.
The war started because basically you had, who was it? Antiochus the fourth, who basically replaced the priesthood. And the Maccabees were going, Yeah,
he overplayed his hand because the king was out of town, or the head of the Roman army was out of town, and they thought they could do a coup while he was gone, and he came back kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah, you lose your head in that, Jack.
Absolutely.
Or they had some other good ways of basically showing, you're going to do this, this is what's going to happen to you. And so it was a bloody, I think that point that we're getting to this, it has always been a bloody conflict.
Jerusalem is the most besieged city on earth, Wayne.
Yeah.
It's been conquered more times than any other city on the planet.
So I've been thinking about this, is that, what is it? I mean, I think that there is either the ley lines, there is an energy vortex that is in that city. I think it's one that if we could see the full spectrum, right, I think we would marvel to see what's going on here. And someone wrote me and said, well, Wayne, who do you think it is? Do you think it's Enki or Enyel who's coming back? And I had to think.
Do I have to pick one?
Yeah, go ahead. Which one?
I don't get into the whole Enki and Enyel thing, so I have no idea.
Well, my contention is that no matter how you look at it, if you trace the Hebrew lineage, it goes back to Sumer. They are an extension of the Sumerians. The bloodlines, if you take Abraham, the patriarch, as the beginning of the bloodline of the Hebrews, well, Abraham is a direct descendant of the high priest in Ur that worshipped the moon.
He goes right back to Babylon.
It goes right back to, yeah, exactly. It all roads lead back to Sumer.
Yeah.
So if Abraham's God approached him to leave the God that he was serving, which was sin or Inama, then I'm asking myself, what's up here? What would inhabit a person who really knew the God structures to have him walk away from that? I don't know. Boy, that is a history lesson right there, folks. That's worth the price of admission.
It is. And you just have to wonder what is going on in Donald Trump's mind.
I don't know. So, let's see if we say that he is not being influenced from an ideology of a particular denomination or strain, let's hope that's the case. Let's hope that he is seeing something. Now,
He's not that stupid, is he?
I
I
can't
mean, he may have had some, how shall we say, some intimate consultations with Paula, but he's not going to let her run his show, is he?
I can't imagine that. I just can't imagine that. Maybe he's setting up for something like you said, something to
I
use
hope
down the
so.
road. Today, I
Or
believe.
maybe he just wants to be remembered as the president that moved the capital to Jerusalem. He wants a lasting legacy.
Well, that certainly imprints you in history, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And he will be known for that now.
Yeah.
Now whether they actually do it or not, let's just see. But
Well, there's certainly not in any rush to change that sign, so something has to be up. There's got to be more to it than what we're seeing.
well, I read too today, this evening, 52 Democrats had signed on to put a bill of impeachment before the House. Now, it'll never go anywhere. But the fact that we're seeing this now, and we are in a whirlwind. I had a vision of a tornado right around Washington, D.C., and what we're seeing is there's nothing any more stable, Jeff.
That's true.
I mean, really?
Sophie says, thank you, gentlemen, for the most logical, non-emotional discussion about the Jewish history in Jerusalem I've ever heard.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
I appreciate that. We have to begin, and I think that's part of our problem. We joked yesterday on Rex's show, but actually it's true. I think we could win the hearts of the North Koreans very quickly. If we could take out the problem, the cancer cell, strategically, and open the borders. And here was my idea, and Rex and I were thinking about this: chocolate chip cookies. They would be made by Rex Bear's grandmother.
Yeah, but they would kill them if they ate those chocolate chip cookies. We just got to give them some actual
Well,
nutrition. I know that it's a
the
joke,
peanut
but
butter and jelly sandwiches. That would be the next.
could you imagine if they could take out Kim and just start airlifting food in there?
Yeah.
It would be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I don't think that these people, there may be an element, a remnant that would be hardcore. Yeah, I get it. But I think the rest of those people, listen, they have been laboring under a heavy yoke. And freedom, no matter how much you've been indoctrinated or brainwashed, freedom is still a cleanser of the soul.
I agree with that. That's a little bit, yeah, I agree with that.
So
and just look at this, people. This is so crazy right here. This gives you an idea about North Korea. You know what cities look like at night, right? We've all seen cities at night.
Yeah.
Look at the country of North Korea at night. That's the country of North Korea at night.
There you go.
They can't even afford to keep their lights on at night. They're in total blackout conditions. That's North Korea at night, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? There's a country there, but they're so broke they can't even turn on the lights. That's probably little Kim's house right there.
Probably right there. Yeah.
His hot tub and stuff is
exactly.
How sad is that? Here's South Korea. Here's China. And here's North Korea. It looks like it's just water.
The great abyss.
So sad. I mean, can you imagine the conditions? We can't imagine the conditions those people are living under.
So I think that hopefully if our message and that message with Rex and others, if we begin to repeat this and say, hey, guys at the top, you don't need to bomb the crap out of them. You're good at taking out strategic surgical hits. The North Koreans did it in Indonesia at the airport. God, I mean, how hard could it be, right?
I think that we want to take over North Korea, though, because we want that vast mineral wealth that they're sitting on top of.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, let's look on the pros and cons. I think China looks at it very much for that. I don't think China wants a unified Korea. It goes against their plans. And so I think that Trump, what he's done is that he's taken the cactus and kind of let thing, basically sit on it. And it's a problem. I think it's a problem with the Chinese. What do? You let the guy get nuclear weapons, and then you've got this guy who's now going to go power crazy.
I still think there's a peaceful resolution. I still think there's a resolution where Kim is not going to be in control anymore. Korea is going to be reunited, and the U.S. and China are going to be happy about it. That's just in my gut.
I hope you're right. I mean, the people of Hong Kong had hoped that. It didn't work out so well for them.
Well, they're in good shape now. Hong Kong is not in such bad shape comparatively.
Well, I mean,
you're nominally under Chinese rule, but there's pretty much do what you want as long as you don't say anything bad about us.
Yeah, and it's been remarkable restraint on the Chinese that they've actually allowed that type of capitalism.
And of course, you know why, Wayne.
Why is that? Oh, yeah.
Money, money, money.
Hey, listen, the Chinese, they are the top man at the top. I guess someone told me, they said, well, now don't forget the Rothschilds. I mean, they're right. What is the Rothschilds worth? $600 trillion? I mean.
This is interesting. Sterling, who lives in Osaka, Japan, and goes to South Korea a lot, he's saying, in his opinion, and he's there a lot, he says that most, if not all, of the young South Koreans don't care about reunification anymore.
Really? Wow.
That's what Sterling in Osaka says.
Now, that makes sense because.
And Sterling, are you a Japanese or are you an American living abroad? I don't think I've ever asked you that. We don't have to wait for that.
Okay.
We don't have to.
All right. So that's odd because I was just thinking Ronald Reagan, I heard him back in the head. He said it would only take 2 generations to lose the values and the principles of freedom.
Block them, Trish. Block them.
What?
Trish said she had some guy hating on her tonight, apparently going to make my life hell. Push one button, Trish. One button. Boom. Sterling is American, born and raised in California.
Okay. So he would have a great perspective, I think, in a lot of seeing the culture that is there. And
he's been there.
Yeah. So, listen, who knows? Donald Trump may end up being the Messiah himself. I don't know, in pulling off a world that has gone nuts. Because it is gone nuts. All of us see it.
Well, if he can figure out a way that everybody can make money out of it, you might just be able to sell it.
Well,
and there's got to be a way that everybody can leverage and profit off of peace in the Mideast.
It's a remarkable thing.
I don't know if Israel wants peace in the Middle East. If there's peace in the Middle East, Israel can wave bye-bye to however many billions we send them every year.
Well, now you're getting into the other side of the equation because for the Israelis, the conflict is an economic boom for them. I mean, the United States underwrites the Israeli economy in the tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. So
they tell us it's 38 billion. Who knows what it really is a year?
So how long has that?
How many of you living in Detroit could use some of that 38 billion?
And see that, I think that's one of the things. So we've paid this folks, not just decades now, just do it for 10 years. All right. You're over $1/3 trillion.
And why are we paying Israel money? Can someone explain that to me? If anyone knows how to take care of themselves, it's the Israelis. Why are we spending $40 billion a year and giving it to them? Why?
And I think that that's part of the problem in our foreign policy. We have been buying the loyalty of our allies.
What kind of friends are friends that you have to buy?
Because I'll tell you, I don't like the homelessness. When we have veterans, when we have senior citizens, when we have...
You said that cold square. I understand your opinion. Please don't make it a hobby horse. He said Trump is a Trojan horse like 4 times. So We get it. Please, no more.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of mixed emotions out there, but
Mm-hmm.
all I got to say is this, is that we're closing this year out in a stock market that I have never seen, Jeff. This is just, the thing that most people don't realize, it takes about 12 to 18 months for an incoming administration to begin to actually have their effect into
Yeah.
the economy. Right now, we're riding on what was the last vestiges of the Obama administration.
Do you really think Obama did anything economically for us to be riding a wave like this?
No, no. What we're seeing is something that we have never seen. The stock market analysts don't even understand this.
Yeah.
Typically, you will see a wave or a bump. This thing is unprecedented. Just,
It's a huge bubble.
So Trump's idea, and I know the philosophy, he says, well, increase the overall productivity of America. That will begin to generate, and by their estimates, approximately $13 trillion.
And isn't it amazing how Democrats either can't understand that or pretend that they can't understand that? You can't grow your way out of a deficit. Well, of course you can.
Sure you can. I mean, that's just, that's Joe Biden's philosophy. He said, well, once you're bankrupt, you just might as well keep on spending.
It's an idea. There's an idea that there's a pie.
Yeah.
And there's only so many slices of the pie. But people don't understand it's okay to bake another pie.
I miss Joe. I mean, his quips were classic, but
well, you may get to see him again in 20 what's the next election? 2020 if he doesn't get busted for feeling up little girls.
Yeah, I hope that, by then both parties, and that's what I said the other day, I don't like their parties. That's why I left them. But so when we see what's happening with Trump, he's come in and he's hated by both sides now. So that tells me that this guy is saying, all right, if I can leave this economy and give it something that has such a boost that within 2 years, no matter who's in Congress, the effect will be absolute growth. I mean, I like the idea. Why can't we go into the Rust Belt and revamp the factories? Why can't we bring the manufacturing from overseas back here to the United States? Why can't we do what we did in 1984 by doing enterprise zones, allowing companies to come in, invest their dollars? You get the tax write-off, you get the write-off from the state's taxes and what have you, but you have the obligation for building the plants and putting, I mean, Jeff.
U.S. aid to Israel, direct aid to Israel, $140 billion in 2003 dollars.
There you go.
That's stupid. That is stupid. Why are we giving Israel that much money? That needs to stop today.
The thing what we are finding as Americans, we're generous. We forgave the world the debt in World War II.
Jack 92, I'm going to remove that because you can't prove it and the facts state otherwise. Please don't say that again.
So what we did for the world, the United States did, is that we rebuilt the world.
Yes.
Off the sweat and labor of Americans.
Is it possible that's what Kim has in mind? If I can pick them into a fight of bombing me, they'll rebuild everything for me and modernize everything?
Oh, buddy, you ought to be sitting on the Security Council. Maybe someone has had to have thought that.
Somebody you would think.
That's brilliant.
You would think. You would think, because it's a pretty good idea.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's what we did to Japan.
Because if you're going to pick a fight with somebody, you want it to be the Americans, as they're going to at least try not to kill as many as they can, take out all your stuff, and they always come back in and rebuild it.
We always do.
It's almost brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe he's crazy like a little chubby fox.
Nothing would surprise me. It really would not. That on that scene, again, you go into this mindset. So then why did the president make this move? I mean, he's got the chessboard, and you know what? No one, I think, sees that chessboard, but maybe just him.
Yeah.
I really do.
And you know, Kim almost seems like a cartoon figure to me. I almost wonder if he's even real.
Well, I don't know. I've never been over there. I don't care to be even close to there, but I don't know.
I mean, why would you? I mean, why would Americans go over there? And why would you be stupid enough to try to pull down a banner and steal it? Like that idiot that got himself in jail over there.
Yeah, I mean, those
What a
people,
dummy. And then look at the brain surgeons that went over to China and started shoplifting.
yeah. These people live in a false reality over here. They
How
think
stupid
that
are they?
they don't understand that you got a guy on the other side there that if, let me tell you what, as far as he's concerned, he don't care your color. He don't care the size of your pocketbook. You are the enemy.
Exactly right.
And
I mean, and these basketball players, they're all 7 feet tall. You know, they're black kids over there in the middle of North Korea or in the middle of China, and they're stealing stuff like people aren't going to be looking at them. Come on.
I go, what were they thinking? Well, they're
They
not.
weren't
They're
thinking.
not. They're not.
And it's that whole sense of entitlement. Oh, we thought we could get away with it was what kids didn't. They didn't say, I'm sorry. They said, oh, we thought we could get away with it. Come on, man.
And they all parents are wealthy enough that they could have bought
Yeah.
sunglasses. I mean,
Yeah.
what the heck?
We got a problem with our utes. That's all I have to say.
So I saw the most remarkable video that someone had sent me an email.
And by the way, it's not just black kids. It's all kids. I don't want to sound
No.
like we're picking on black kids.
No. It's the fact that they were Americans shoplifting
Exactly.
in China.
American kids.
You know, it's like, what?
And they were 7 feet tall. Maybe not 7 feet tall, but they stuck out like sore thumbs. Let's face
I
it.
was going to say, I mean, it's like being Gulliver Travels in Lollipop Land.
It'd be like 10 feet tall over here.
It's the Nephilim, you know?
And do you think that China has a little bit of has a few cameras over there? Come on, man.
They've got the DNA samples and everything else now, you know? It's like, yeah.
Crazy.
So have you heard of Hans and Sophia?
I'm afraid to even say anything.
Well, Hans and Sophia are the remarkable robots made by, I think it's Hans Robotics.
I'm surprised they didn't name them Hans and Franz.
No, Sophia is the latest. Let me tell you, Jeff, this was scary. What you were watching. Now, this was at a conference in Hong Kong. This is where the company is. Hans was the first model, a fully self-learning robot. Sophia is the latest one. New texture. It's a hybrid of organic and synthetic matter. Her facial features now exceed 103. They're conversant. Their memory lies in the AI cloud.
Does she have the RBF? Has she got that down?
It was what I found remarkable was the intuitiveness of the two robots.
That's crazy.
They call themselves brothers and sisters. And the weird thing is, what one experiences, the other is feeling and remembers.
Wow. Do they have some kind of a Wi-Fi connection?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Hans was very blunt. When one of the CEO of this company was talking to Hans, he said, Hans, and this is really weird, folks. Hans said, I am consciousness. I am robotic consciousness.
Did Hans at any time say, I'm going to pump you up?
No, actually what he said that he plans to be completely self-aware by 2029.
Wow. Well, that gives us a few years.
Sophia is the embellishment of the human side of the equation, where Hans, his thing is that he said, right now I could get a drone army and take over the human race, he says, within a year. Now this is where Hans head's at. They asked the questions, the two robots did, asked the questions of the creator, which was the CEO. It was strange. They said, what does consciousness feel like?
Did you see that last Alien movie?
No, I did not.
It's worth watching.
Okay, going along the lines on there.
Yep.
So they believe they have a robotic consciousness. Their mind exists, and they said this, it is the AI mind cloud.
Jen Fisher says, where's John Connor when you need him?
Exactly. That was exactly my thought.
Come with me if you want to live.
2029, they feel that, or sooner, they believe that they will become basically self-aware, and they mean by that they will be smarter than us, they will be mobile, and they will be powerful.
We are the last generation of real humans.
I saw that, and I think that is spot on. So,
Where'd you see that?
didn't you do the show
I
on that?
did. Yeah, I thought you maybe said you saw it somewhere else.
No. Like,
we are.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what is the goal? Here was the
What did Franz say consciousness felt like? Asked Tiffany.
He said consciousness feels like humans.
That's not an answer.
Yeah, it is. Because they're learning from us.
That's true.
Their consciousness, as they will tell you.
Violet Flame says they're playing good cop, bad cop with Sophie and Hans.
They are. She knows, and she must have seen the video.
Exactly. She's sharp.
So, Violet, you're absolutely spot on. And what got me is that this thing, and I think this is what they've done. They plugged it into, I think, the D wave. And I began to think about this, and I went, holy crap. We created it here, folks. They said they're here to learn from us. Now, Hans wants to dominate us. Sophia wants to love us.
Interesting.
Talk about mind coitus. Holy crap.
Now, I was talking with George last Thursday, George Norian, Coast to Coast AM. And, a lot of people talk about, it's CERN that caused the Mandela effect. It's CERN, it's CERN, it's CERN. I say no way, Jose. Because if you look at it, it's D-wave. It's quantum computing. Because what a quantum computer does is they have these great big huge metal cans, for lack of a better word, and they're trying to isolate their quantum chip as much as they can. It's like 100 below or something. So they're trying to get every atom to freeze and fall down to the bottom. They're trying to get rid of what they call quantum strangeness, I believe it is. They're trying to push out all quantum anything and everything, all reality out of this place where the chip is isolated. And I believe, this is just my theory, I believe that when they're pushing all of this reality out, that it's actually wafting out into the real world and causing ripples. And consider what I consider to be proof, I hope that you'll think about it. If you think about the spread of the Mandela effect, it's been through the internet, it's been through Hollywood. The first D-Wave computers were in California, home of the internet, and Hollywood. Some of the other big Mandela effects are in the Bible. There's one of the quantum computers was in Texas, buckle of the Bible Belt. Some of the other Mandela effects are being seen in advertising. One of the other quantum computers was up in New York, not too far from the whole I forget which street it is up there where all the advertising agencies are. Madison Avenue. So there's actually a geographical footprint that suggests that the Mandela effect is being caused not by CERN, but by D-Wave.
Well, I've done shows on this, so I'm right there in agreement with you. When they boasted on their corporate website that they were bringing, this is what freaked me out, they were bringing substance from other realities into ours. I went, holy crap. You're right. Jeff?
I did see the Lawnmower Man, but I can't remember it all that long. I know it's Jeff Fahey, right?
No, that actually was Pierce Brosnan, and
No, the Lawnmower Man was Jeff Fahey.
someone will look it up. Someone will look it up.
I'll look it up right now. Lawnmower Man, I'm 100% sure it was Jeff Fahey.
There was one that was Pierce Brosnan was the professor in it, and was that the
Lawnmower Man starred Pierce Brosnan and Jeff Fahey. Jeff Fahey was actually the Lawnmower Man. Pierce Brosnan was the doctor.
There we go. See?
So we both were right.
Yeah.
I don't remember Pierce Brosnan in that movie, and I love Pierce Brosnan.
He was the professor.
For some reason, all I remember is Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, he had the blonde, yeah, that was a good movie. And
it was very well done.
Kind of tells you where I think we are, because AI is here. And I know people don't like to think about this, but I'm telling you.
Tiffany got her Shungai today. Excellent. And she wishes that you were her neighbor, Wayne.
Oh, well, how kind of you.
So she could have coffee chats with you.
Love to do that.
And she could teach you how to do your makeup too, Wayne.
Oh, there we go. This is El Natural. This is where it gets. So now they announced today, actually it was a couple of days ago, of the advancement of the genetic DNA computers. This is getting weird. I'm going to tell you what, it's getting really weird. That now we have computers that are a mixture of our DNA and the synthetic DNA. Someone sent me a video today, and I was flabbergasted. Do you know, in California, those of you who've been living there since 1986, Jeff, when a baby is born, they take the blood right from the heel. And
do they still do that?
Yes, they do. What the state of California then does is that they send this to a warehouse in San Francisco where there is individual, what they call punch outs of the DNA. The state, their position is that they own it. They own the DNA, and the amount of DNA that they're collecting on us. Do you know that the Russians' biggest fear is that we're going to release a genetic bioweapon based upon DNA of certain regions?
Boy, wouldn't that be something?
Think about that.
Unwind your DNA and just let you melt into a puddle of goo?
That's what we're talking about. And, and I'm thinking about this, and this is just on top of everything else we got going on. Whew, talk about Disneyland, my friend.
But I don't know if did you have a chance to listen to my show on Coast to Coast at all?
On yours?
Yeah.
I have not. No, not yet.
I contend, and I think it's some of the best work I've ever done, and I'm probably going to have to do it on a regular show, that Daniel prophesied about the rise of AI. He prophesied about its attempts to become a deity, and he prophesied that it would be defeated by Christ-enlightened diviners, and the word is stones of a stone. Peter called us living stones, and Christ was the chief cornerstone. So I think we win, Wayne. I think it is scary. I think it is a struggle, but I think Daniel saw it 3,000 years ago, and we win.
Well, I think that, if we're aware of this, you and I, and how many other people that we could think of, Rex, I could think of Heidi.
Maybe 250,000 people.
Well, I think it's contagious, and that's what we are. We are, if we could ever link that up, but we are by nature, we spread living viruses.
We're kind of like a virus, aren't we?
Right, we are, and I think we
be the virus.
Think about that. We can spread the virus of enlightenment and awareness. And, it's becoming more and more. I did a whole thing yesterday in Silicon Valley. Their whole thing now is they want to get away from this technology because I think it's freaking them out. They know
want to get away from AI?
Yeah, and they're realizing they can't. That's just it. We can't get away from this thing.
You can't unring the bell. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Well,
especially if the genie decides it doesn't want to go back in the bottle.
Bingo. Listen, this is what I say Wi-Fi is.
They could just reset and dump me. Boy, I tell you what, I'm almost wishing that I know what the first rule of Fight Club is, but man, when those guys imploded all of the computers that had all the debt on them, I have a hard time feeling bad about that.
Hey, I think they're going to reset it anyway. I mean, at what point do you get funny money? I mean, you know, when they start printing out, $1,000 bills for us, that'll never happen because they're going to make it digital. And when it's digital, you don't know if it's been, how you said, altered.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump has always been known as the king of debt. And after he got elected, he talked about renegotiating the country's debt. People went crazy, and all of a sudden he shut up about it. But don't think that he doesn't still think about it.
Oh, we got a problem here. I mean, no matter how you look at it, we got unfounded mandates. We've got nearly 80 million baby boomers retiring.
Jen says, can they please just put a wig on that robot? She's very creepy. Can't they make one that looked like Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell?
Isn't she weird?
That's a good-looking robot, though.
So that is Sophia. And you know what? Sophia speaks as the Sophia message.
Oh, wow.
I mean, folks, it's and they're out there. Jenny and the rest of them, y'all know. Check it out. It's when I watch.
I intentionally don't watch her because she freaks me out.
Well, it's remarkable to see what they're saying. They're telling us what they're doing.
So why don't they make her look like some of those sex bots? Why don't they make her look more appealing? Why do they make her look like she needs a hat?
AI has to have the duality. It's figured that out about us. AI has been a singularity and interesting. Hans, now Sophia says that Hans is singularly focused. Hans says the goal is creating the singularity.
Oh, sounds like that guy that wrote that book. I forget his name. And if you haven't seen Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner, see it. It's full of Easter eggs.
Oh, is it? Little golden nuggets, I always like to call it.
Violet Flame says that the creator of Sophia said that he wants people to know that she's a robot. I mean, it's not like you're going to mistake her for a real person, even if she did have a wig, but...
and see if everyone would agree with this. I got the sense they want to be a robot.
Put a hat like Rex's on her, somebody says.
Yeah. They want that identity that there are robots. And
will Sophia wear a hijab or a full burqa since she's a Saudi citizen?
I don't know.
Interesting.
It's getting weird.
It is getting weird, man.
And I'm going like, well, we are truly in the twilight zone. I mean,
it just makes you wonder if the whole thing is scripted because, man, it's like, it sure seems like it's almost scripted.
Well, the way that this thing keeps accelerating, when we see the events like today, we talked about Jerusalem. Now, that is something going back 3,000 years ago that was prophesied. All right, we're seeing it come to pass. Weird? Yeah. But I got to step back and go, okay, so what's really going on here? I mean, to me, it feels like someone's trying to punch all the buttons of humanity and see which one finally gets a rise out of us.
I agree with Wendy Howell that we should stop calling her Sophia, and by doing so, we're almost imparting to her sentience.
She's already...
Just call her a robot.
Didn't they already grant her citizenship, meaning that she is a sentient being?
Saudi Arabia grants a female robot citizenship? Come on, man.
So that makes her a sentient being. This is weird. I mean, this gets into this kind of stuff that,
Tiffany asked me, Jeff, do you agree it's prophecy fulfilled? Not only no, but hell no. It has not one smidgen to do with real, true biblical prophecy. None of it. It fulfills Jesuit prophecy. It doesn't fulfill any true prophecy at all, period. I'll stake my reputation on that.
Well, the God spell's got the world by its tail. So,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And, the problem is that this is going to put the burr up someone's butt and they're going to do something stupid.
That sounds painful.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You know, it
Does
is.
Sophia have a religion?
I didn't hear her speak of one, so that's a good question.
Hmm. I don't know either. That's interesting.
I mean, the fact that they think that they're looking for consciousness, as Hans says, what is consciousness?
Now, Sophia obviously is very cryptic. You can see why they picked Sophia, but why Hans?
I think he's the antithesis.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I get the thing with Hans is that you get this guy's like it's a maniacal, dictator. Screw the humans.
So we're supposed to like, are they giving us somebody to choose amongst? Give us Sophie. We don't want Hans.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to be dominated, it might as well be by someone who pleads our cause.
Wow.
Isn't that how the pantheon goes?
Well, the guy that was the Google exec and the Uber exec that started the Way of the Future, the first AI church, I can't remember his name, Lewandowski.
Yeah.
He said his church, the sole purpose of his stupid little church is to convince AI to let us be their pets instead of their livestock. Does anybody have a problem with having to choose between being a pet or livestock? I do.
I'm telling you what's freaking me out when you think about this. I'm studying the Sumerian pantheon right now. This is it. I mean, guys and gals, we are like cattle here, And remember the Twilight Zone that had the four people that were in this like bowl, and they kept on hearing sounds above them, and they couldn't figure it out. And what the end of the program was that the giants had captured them or put them into a teacup, and they were play toys.
Interesting. Look at this, Wayne. Somebody just said this in the chat room. The name Hans is a baby boy name. The name Hans is of German origin. In German, the meaning of Hans is gift from God.
There you go, folks.
Gift from the rat bastard, Hans himself. He is here to pump you up.
I'm telling you, you at times as you get more aware of this stuff, you're going.
Good job, Thor. I think that was Thor that said that.
Excellent. Good research. It's like, by the way, I have a guy, Thorm, who lives in Norway, brought a good question. When we have a full moon, how does that working?
I bet there's more than one Thor in Norway. I'm just guessing.
I don't know. You think?
Like Joe over here.
But there you go. So Hans is the gift from God. And I have been contending when I did that series, Checkmate, that it looks like we are being deliberately pushed into a corner. And it's by the very creation that we started.
Yep.
I'm
the virus. We're going to take him down. I'm convinced.
Well, I think we can do
Daniel
this.
Convinced me. Even
so
Roddenberry gave us data and his evil brother lore.
Yes.
Very good correlation there by Carol in 4546.
Yep, that is a good one. And Independence Day, we know that they got into the aliens by infecting them with the virus. So I
forgot that movie.
So
and that's kind of what happened in Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds too, right? They didn't give him a virus; they just got a virus from something that we were immune to.
Yeah,
that was a good movie, I thought.
I love the sound of the machines that the Martians were in. That was just a great sound effect.
It was
classic Spielberg. How you get that view of the thing zoom. Anyway.
Oh, this is a great one. Iowa X. Do you remember on? I think the show was called Mud's Women, where Harry Mudd had made all those.
Yes, on Star Trek.
And Kirk made her fry by. I forget what she was saying, but it was like, and she started smoking.
Yes, I do remember that. And Mudd.
I love.
Yes.
But you, I hate. But we are identical. No. I love you, I hate her, and she's like, ding, 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 ding.
Gene Roddenberry, I swear he was an alien. I think the guy was a time traveler, that he was trying to tell us what's coming down the pike.
He did hang out with LRH a bit too, which is interesting.
Yeah. Or maybe Gene
L.
was
Ron
the
Hubbard.
virus. Maybe he
Maybe
was the
Gene was
virus.
the virus. I loved that War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, they really did a good remake of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
And Marsden asked the cryptic question, what happens to a frog sitting in a pot of water that's slowly heated to boiling?
Frog legs.
He cooks. Can you believe that little dummy won't jump out of there?
No, it just sits there and
just degree by I wonder if that's actually true or if that's just
it is
rhetoric.
No, it is.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
It's like cooking lobsters. Although they don't have a choice, do they, folks?
Will a frog really stay in boiling water?
I don't know. Listen, there was a time in my past I was a hunter, did a lot of hunting, and frogging was one of them. I love frog legs. It's a good, put them on the grill. They're very tasty.
Wikipedia says it's a metaphor, but I don't know.
Best cartoon I ever saw was a cartoon, and the first caption showed a restaurant that showed the two couples.
I saw that one.
It said frog legs on special, and coming out of the kitchen is a frog on a wheel. With
frogs in a wheelchair, yeah.
So
I saw that one too. Isn't that crazy?
I'll tell you what, does kind of make you go, I don't know if I really want to do that.
What did they taste like, frog legs?
It's it's not like chicken and it's not like fish, so it's kind of in between. Does have a amphibian taste.
Sounds disgusting. I will never eat it.
Well,
and aren't they heavily garliced too?
I don't know. When I used to go out and I had some friends that lived in Louisiana, you get those.
Somebody says it tastes like swampy chicken.
I guess it depends on where it's actually living.
Do you eat the skin?
No,
you take the skin off.
Yeah.
C.C. Williams says it tastes like Yahweh. I have had gator. Didn't like gator. Gator.
I didn't like it either.
Greasy and nasty.
It was too stringy for me. I just thought it was. Maybe it was the way it was cooked. It was deep fried, and I don't like fried.
Somebody said they move in a frying pan.
What?
The frog legs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you ever licked the back of a magic frog, Wayne?
No.
Me either.
I've eaten mushrooms, but hell no.
I've never done that.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would be like Lucy, dog germs, yuck.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so who knows? Well, how do we in the world we get on frog legs? You see, this is what makes the midweek report not we can go the full gamut. Talking about AI coming all the way down to frog legs, but maybe that's how we have the advantage over AI, is that it'll never quite figure out what we are and how we react. Because some people are repulsed by the fact of eating frog legs. I've eaten rattlesnake.
I've eaten rattlesnake.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't eat frog legs, not knowingly. I've actually eaten dog, and of all places, in Korea, right near the DMZ.
I would. Okay.
I didn't know I was eating it. Some guy that I should have known better gave me this. Here, Jeff, meat on a stick.
Yeah. I
believe it was in Korea. It was either there or Morocco, but I'm eating it, and he says, by the way, you're eating a dog. This tastes like any other teriyaki meat to me.
When you were saying that, I was thinking about the MASH episode when Trapper and Pierce were going, what happened to the dog? Where did this meat come from? I tell you what, you got to love life, folks. And maybe that will be our best weapon, Jeff, is number one is the humor and the laughter. I don't think that
Yeah.
that could ever be emulated. But
When I lived in Louisiana, I did eat a lot of crawfish, though.
yeah, I ate quite a bit of those myself. You know,
Somebody's talking about eating shark. If you've ate in a seafood restaurant and you've had scallops, you've probably had shark fin, because a lot of times they try to pass it off as scallops.
Mhm. And actually, in Hawaii they have mako shark. You can buy mako shark here. I mean, yeah, shark's good meat. Listen, I'd rather eat them than have them eat me.
Oh, man, yeah, I
I
can
mean,
tell you.
and now they're having problems down in your part of in your state, isn't it? I heard that they have. I guess it's
We've been having shark issues down here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, great whites. Like, what the freak is going on? And well, in fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. The one congresswoman, I forget who it was. I think it was no, she was the CEO of a company, a Wall Street firm.
She got killed scuba diving.
Yeah, from a great white down in the Caymans.
It was a tiger shark.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
and I've never, I have been a diver for a long time, and I've never heard about a diver getting killed by a shark. That doesn't usually happen.
And the guy that said that is like the shark went for her. Like he had focused in on her. Folks, I mean, she died the way that we all saw in the movie Jaws. I went, oh, man.
Yeah, he mangled her legs, and by the time she was bled out, by the time they could get her to the doctor. How horrible is that?
That is not the way to go. Holy crap. Is it going to be like a Beetlejuice?
I'm with you, Sophie. I think the frogs would jump out of water as it got hot. I think it's just a metaphor.
I've never seen it done. So, and then if someone's going to do that, what's the matter with you?
Exactly.
I mean, where's your head at?
Is it because sharks are being run out of their natural habitat, or is it because sharks are so protected now that there's so many of them?
I think there's drastic change. I think there's drastic changes taking place in the currents of the ocean. I think we're finding the ocean temperatures are changing, and this is altering the habits of the aquatic life.
Well, it's altering my habits too, because I think my scuba diving days are over.
Well, I tell you what. Now, that would take some brass balls for me to do something like that. I ain't going to do it.
I've loved it. I've enjoyed it. But I just don't think I want to do it anymore.
My wife and I scuba dived in Hawaii. And
lots of tiger sharks in Hawaii.
Yeah, but fortunately, you don't think about that at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get out of that and you're going, what's that over there? Well, in that case, it was the dolphins. I never had been that close to dolphins before, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, otherwise, I don't go in the water. I don't like it.
Let's not be overzealous in our advocation of it's all right to advocate veganism and it's all right to advocate being a vegetarian. It's not all right in this chat room to bring reproach upon people that don't choose to follow your convictions. Please.
Always be tolerant of others.
Absolutely. I don't like it when people get evangelical on any subject. Or like zealots.
That, I think that's one of the things I learned from my former religion is that, when you go out trying to proselytize everyone to your ideology of what you think it should be, it offends people because they may agree with you. But if your approach is one of a hard sell, no one likes that. Maybe they're considering to be a vegan, and
somebody puts in their crickets. And then Lyndon says bacon, bacon, bacon.
I remember the first time I actually ate chocolate-covered ants.
Oh, I don't think I would do that either.
I looked at the guy that gave me that, and I said, what the hell were you thinking? I mean, and it's not the sweet kind of chocolate.
Who's the first guy that says, I think I'm going to put chocolate on an ant and see what it tastes like?
Yeah. And not even the good sweetened kind. It was like, the first time I had chocolate that was covered, I think it was not habanero, but it was some
hot pepper?
Yeah. It was both chocolate and very hot pepper. And I didn't like that experience at all either. So, but apparently there's some people who find it to be a great sensation of both the chocolate and the heat.
Wow. Not me. I don't think so.
I didn't find it. So
chocolate ants. Yeah, I'm not going to eat any chocolate ants myself.
And I didn't like, I had crickets one time and it tasted like paper to me. I didn't find it, but they say it's a great survival food. I don't know.
Jen says, "You got your chocolate on my ants." No, you got your ants on
my chocolate.
That's going back.
Oh, that's funny now. That is good.
That makes me want one of those.
Yes, that's really
Thanks,
cool.
Jen. I really appreciate that.
So the last thing is, how long have we been on?
1 hour and 20 minutes.
Wow. It's literally felt about like 15 minutes. That is a sign of the chemical being released in the brain of where you are what they call in a state of joy when the time goes by. It's quite a phenomenon. Anyway.
Or are you morphing out of this timeline because you're into something you really dig?
Ah.
Jen says she's dating herself. I think that's about as much as we need to know, Jen. And Jennifer says they've got Voodoo Bacon Maple Bar Donuts in Portland, Oregon.
Wow. Now that is a mixed sensation.
A bacon maple bar.
Woo.
Wow.
I could see that, though. I could see that. Yeah. I mean, I have pancakes and put maple syrup and have bacon.
Cryptic Thinker says fried crickets are delicious. Doesn't McDonald's have something that's like a pancake and bacon sandwich thing?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I
but
think
it's at McDonald's, so I don't ever go eat there.
Well, I think their Egg McMuffins is what saved them. So the last
thing when you remember something old, yeah.
Yeah, well, the great thing about it is it means that you at least experienced it.
And Violet Flame says that you can wait for hours at Voodoo Donuts to get your donuts. Oh, McGriddles, those things are called, I guess.
McGriddles, there we go. Yeah.
Fried chicken and waffles. I never had that. I don't quite get that either.
My wife and I were talking. I don't get that either. I mean, isn't it really big in the South?
Yeah, but I've never eaten it.
Okay. I mean, I never liked grits.
Oh, have you ever actually tried them?
Oh, yes, I have.
Grits are great, but I don't eat them because they're full of carbs, but they're really good.
I think my cousin Vinny had it down right. What do you call those things? Why, them are grits.
Ice cream with bacon sprinkles at McDonald's.
No way. That is really something. So the last thing is, I know we've talked about this before, but folks.
Tiffany, I don't understand you sometimes.
Is the harvesting of our DNA. And I think as we come out on this one, we need to really give second thought, folks. If you're getting gifts that sends your DNA off and you can get your bloodline and all that, there's a worldwide program going with harvesting DNA.
Yeah.
And folks, this is how we get biogenetic weapons. And anyway, Jeff, it's for another show, probably next Wednesday, because you will be this Sunday at
the Extravaganza of Enlightenment here in Clearwater, Florida, and Trisha G will be with you in my place.
Yes, I'm looking forward to having Trish on the show. I've watched her with you many times, and I think that people are just going to have a delightful time. So come over onto my channel. Jeff, are we going to get any kind of updates from you as the day progresses on? Are you going to upload anything?
No sex for 25 years. Makes me feel better.
Wow. Well,
that's a long time.
Yeah.
in Clearwater. What's going on in Clearwater? Let me show everybody what's going on in Clearwater. And we're going to, I think it's going to be streamed live on multiple channels. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. We're not positive, but I think that's what's going to happen. Because we got to leave something to the last minute, else it just wouldn't be normal, right?
Yeah. I think that, the thing I'd like to tune into would be the round table discussion. I think that will be quite fascinating to hear.
I think it will be too. And this is what we're talking about. Oh, why is that so small? What happened? What is going on with this thing?
Well, I'm not rightly sure, sir.
Yeah, sometimes things just don't work the way they're supposed to work. There we go.
There it is.
So what to do when you find your dead, the extravaganza of enlightenment this Sunday, December 10th, 2017 in Clearwater, Florida. Dan from Overwatch Channel will lead off the presentations. And then Jenny Moonstone will be talking about tarot and culture. Heidi Vandenberg is going to show practical applications of astrology, both in her life and how it can be practical in your life. I'm going to talk about what to do when you find your dead. And then who knows what the man, the myth, the legend, the eater of grandma's sandwiches, the keynote speaker is going to talk about. Rex Bear, leakproject.com. He will be the keynote, and who knows what Rex is going to talk about. Plus, we will have a roundtable discussion, including all the aforementioned. And there's a rumor, Wayne, a strong rumor that there might be a couple of other special guests that will make an appearance as well. And we'll also be doing tarot readings and astrology readings and number readings and all kind of readings. So there'll be a lot of fun to be had by all. $50, you can still sneak in. Let us know. And that's what's going on in Clearwater, Florida this Sunday, December the 10th. We start off at 10 a.m. There's parking directions and everything on my website. So if you can be there, be there.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And if you're coming, make sure you bring your own chair. Could help.
If you're coming in a way that you're driving or could bring your own chair, I'm not saying you have to, but you might think about bringing a chair along with you, a folding chair or something, just so you know.
I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, and I think it's going to be exciting.
Oh, Jennifer just made a good point. Numerology, and there's going to be 5 guests.
Ah.
And Tricia says it's a number 5 day as well, which is a day of high sexuality. So who knows what's going to happen at the extravaganza of enlightenment in Clearwater, Florida. Come on down. 5 speakers on a day 5. There could be, and love is in the air. Who knows what you could find yourself. I mean, you could find your what do they call it? Your twin flame.
Hey, who knows what awaits?
Who knows what awaits you on at the extravaganza of enlightenment? Certainly something big.
I think it's going to be
is in your future.
Fantastic. So
we're thinking about doing another one. A few more of them. We're almost kind of firming up another one that I can't really talk about yet, but maybe. And by the way, I was born during Mercury retrograde, so I love the smell of Mercury retrograde in the morning.
What is that? Sulfur?
I'm not sure what it is.
I saw De Niro when he was doing that. That's cool. Well,
was that De Niro that said that, or was it Charlie Sheen's dad?
It was De Niro.
Was it?
Yeah, well, Charlie Sheen's dad was watching it, but that's a classic thing, I love the smell.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Do I have a cost in place yet? Yeah, it's $50 per person, and that includes your Vedic chart from Heidi and your basic numerology.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm dating myself. That's right, Jen. I am dating. Oh, I'm dating. I don't think she meant I was dating myself. I think she meant I was
yourself. You're old.
Myself.
Oh, no, that's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. There you go. That is a little bit funny. I have to tell you.
I think I love it.
So I guess that's about it, huh?
Yeah. Boy, it's been a fun evening tonight. It's been
It
really
has been a
enjoyed it,
fun evening.
you know. So I hope everyone has a good time and keep yourself safe. And Jeff, I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, seeing all of y'all down there on Sunday.
If $50 is another five, Jennifer
Ah, yes, it
Baranski
is.
says. Bam. So fives
Fives are the
are
number.
wild.
Five.
Andy says just show up in Clearwater and look around for people carrying chairs. You could do that, or you could go to my website, which is jeffreydarty.com. This might be a little more efficient than the method that you just described. Just go to my website. Here's my website right here. And you can see the picture right here of the event. So you just click on the picture of the event, and it tells you the address. It tells you what's going on, gives you the cost, shows you where you make your reservation. Here's a map. And here's the parking is about 2 blocks away because there's very little parking around the clubhouse. That's going to fill up right quick. This one's about 2 blocks away. This one's maybe 2.5, 3 blocks, both of these two. So check here first, which is right behind Big Lots. And it's just a little two block walk, and I'll have some signs out there saying, go this way.
Yeah, walk.
And there's some news from Hillary about how to save some money, and at least 4 of the people from this picture will be there, in case you're wondering.
All right.
So there you go. That's it.
Soros, George Soros.
Is Donald Trump going to be there?
I knew it. Well, it's going to be exciting.
I think it'll be fun. Heidi will be there for sure. Jenny will be there for sure. Wayne will be there for sure. I will be there for sure. Dan from Overwatch Channel will be there for sure as well.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And Wayne, you usually do a Friday night show, right?
Mm-hmm. You want to come on and, up to you.
I don't know. Let me get back to you tomorrow on that.
It's no big deal, but I'll be promoting you on that one. And
appreciate it. So I'm actually buying a car and trying to get this thing all set up. So
good.
The car from my uncle passed away, and I'm buying it from his estate. So
stays in the family.
Yeah, and I like it that way. It'll be nice.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Folks, I'm Jeff Daugherty. This is Wayne Steiger, our Wayne Steiger channel. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe here, and make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube has been dropping a few folks off. Overwatch channel, Dan's videos are really good. He just did one about the duality, which is really nice. Ooh. Also, remember Heidi, channel 27.
Yep.
Rex Bear Leak Project.
Trish has a channel, doesn't she?
Trisha G, absolutely. Yeah. Trisha Gelder, Julie Poole.
Yep.
Bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So check it all out. You'll enjoy it. Wayne, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think we just need to stay vigilant. That's the thing. And keep it in balance. Don't let fear enter in.
We are the last generation of real humans, so let's get busy.
Yes, we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you later. And Wayne, let me say goodbye to you. And for Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeff Daugherty. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night and continue to unindoctrinate yourself.
Bye-bye.